I am going to say something that will make some people uncomfortable. Being nice is hurting you. Not kindness, not generosity, not warmth. Those things are powerful. I am talking about the specific pattern of behavior that most people call being nice. The compulsive agreeing, the inability to say no, the constant prioritizing of everyone else's comfort over your own truth. That pattern is not a virtue, it is a vulnerability. And the wrong people, the ones who are very good at reading people, can see it from across the room. In the next 7 minutes, I am going to show you the brutal psychological truth about why nice people get used, what is actually driving the behavior, and how to stop it without becoming someone you don't want to be. What being too nice actually communicates. Here is what most people do not understand about social dynamics. Every behavior you display communicates something about you, not just to others consciously, but to their subconscious social processing systems. When you agree with everything, it communicates that you have no strong convictions of your own. When you never say no, it communicates that your time and energy have no value to you. When you apologize constantly, it communicates that you believe you are fundamentally in the wrong simply by existing. When you shrink yourself to make others comfortable, it communicates that their comfort matters more than your presence. None of this is communicated through words. It is communicated through pattern. And patterns, absorbed subconsciously, shape how people treat you in ways they cannot always consciously explain. The person who is always agreeable gets agreed with less. The person who never pushes back gets pushed around more. The person who never says no finds that people stop respecting the boundary between what is acceptable and what is not, because there has never been one. You have been teaching people how to treat you, and the lesson being learned is, this person can be used. The dark psychology of why people exploit kindness. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Most people who take advantage of kind people are not consciously malicious. And opportunity, in the world of human psychology, is simply a gap between what someone offers and what is required of them in return. When you are always available, you become taken for granted. Not because people are evil, because the human brain stops valuing what is always there. This is called the scarcity principle. What is rare is valuable. What is abundant is overlooked. Your constant availability is abundant, and abundant things get used without gratitude. But there is a darker layer. Some people, particularly those with manipulative tendencies, specifically seek out overgivers. They are easy to identify. They are the ones who apologize when you bump into them, who say yes before you finish the sentence, who visibly need to be liked. These people are not selected for kindness. They are selected for exploitability. And the manipulator did not consciously choose this. Their psychology simply gravitates toward targets whose social defenses are lowest. Your niceness was not seen as a virtue by these people. It was seen as an opening. The real reason you cannot stop being nice. This is the part most people avoid. Compulsive niceness is almost never actually about caring for others. It is about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of being disliked, fear of what happens if you take up space and someone decides that is too much. Fear at its deepest level that if you stop performing agreeableness, people will discover who you really are and find it insufficient. The compulsively nice person has made an unconscious calculation. If I give enough, agree enough, accommodate enough, I will be safe, I will be liked, I will not be abandoned. This calculation was likely installed very early, in environments where love was conditional, where conflict was dangerous, where making yourself smaller was the strategy that kept you safe. It worked then, in childhood, in that specific environment with those specific people. And in adult relationships, in workplaces, friendships, romantic partnerships, it produces exactly the opposite of what it promises. Instead of safety, it produces exploitation. Instead of love, it produces being taken for granted. Instead of connection, it produces relationships built on what you provide rather than who you are. The strategy that protected you then is the strategy that is failing you now. The difference between kindness and people-pleasing. This is critical, because I am not telling you to become cold. Genuine kindness comes from abundance. You give because you want to, because it aligns with your values, because the act of giving feels meaningful to you, not because you are afraid of what happens if you do not. Genuine kindness has limits. A genuinely kind person can say no, and does, regularly, without guilt. Because their kindness is a choice, not a compulsion. People-pleasing comes from fear and scarcity. You give because you are afraid of the consequences of not giving. Because the discomfort of saying no feels more threatening than the cost of saying yes. Because somewhere in your psychology, being liked feels like survival. People-pleasing has no limits, because the fear that drives it has no limits. Genuine kindness commands respect. People-pleasing invites exploitation. The difference is not in the behavior. It is in what is driving the behavior. And other people, at a subconscious level, can feel the difference. They can feel when generosity comes from strength versus when it comes from need. And they respond to it accordingly. What happens when you stop? Here is something nobody prepares you for. When you start saying no, some people will be angry. When you start holding your position in disagreements, some people will call you difficult. When you stop absorbing everyone else's discomfort, some people will accuse you of being selfish. Expect this. Prepare for it, because it is not evidence that you are doing something wrong. It is evidence that you are disrupting a dynamic that was built on your compliance. The people who genuinely care about you will adjust. They will respect the new version of you. They will appreciate the honesty of knowing where your actual limits are. The people who only valued your compliance will leave, or they will try to pressure you back into your old pattern. Let them leave. That exit is information. What is leaving is not a relationship. It was an arrangement. How to start right now. Step 1. Practice the pause. When someone makes a request, before responding, pause, even 2 seconds. This breaks the automatic yes reflex and gives your rational mind a chance to assess whether you actually want to do this. Step 2. Let no be a complete sentence. No is not a negotiation opener. You do not need to follow it with an explanation, a justification, or an apology. No, full stop. Every qualification you add after no reduces its power and opens the door to being talked out of it. Step 3. Tolerate the discomfort of disapproval. The first time you say no to someone who expects a yes, it will be uncomfortable. That discomfort is not a signal that you did something wrong. It is your nervous system processing something unfamiliar. Sit with it. Do not immediately apologize or backtrack. The discomfort decreases every time. The capacity for it builds. And on the other side of that discomfort is a version of yourself that nobody can manipulate. Step 4. Build your self-worth from the inside. Start making and keeping promises to yourself. Small ones. Show up for yourself the way you show up for everyone else. Every kept promise to yourself is evidence that you are someone worth protecting. When you believe you are worth protecting, your behavior changes automatically. You do not have to force yourself to have boundaries. They emerge naturally from a self-concept that includes the belief that your time, energy, and presence have genuine value. The world needs kind people, but kindness without self-respect is not virtue. It is vulnerability. The world does not need more people who say yes out of fear. It needs more people who say yes when they mean it, and no when they do not. Be that person. Not because it will make everyone like you, because it will make you respect yourself. And that, unlike other people's approval, will never be taken away. Subscribe to MindVault. Share this with the nicest person you know who deserves to hear it.